Okay, in the name of God, the gracious and merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. And even if I live to be 1,000, it still will not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God so much for the Metu Netter, which were scriptures that came before Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, the actual words of God from Africa. We thank him for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad ibn Allah for the Quran. I greet you all in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my Black Conscious family, hotep. And to my people in the streets, what's good with you? This is Brother Shareef here in Durham, North Carolina. We have a special guest this evening, Miss Demetrice, and she's going to explain the great program she has. But before I get started, just want everyone to go to my channel, The Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid, S-H-A-R-E-E-F, Hamid, H-A-M-E-E-D. The Hour of Power. I have a lot of great messages on there with a lot of different interviews and timely messages that's going on now and giving you information from the past. So that's The Hour of Power. Subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. That's how we keep the channel going and keep lifting up the mind, body, and soul of our people. So we have a special guest with us this evening, Miss Demetrice. With no further ado, sis, tell us about yourself and tell us about this great program you have.
I'm Demetrice Via, the founder and program director for RISE. RISE stands for Realizing Inspiration Serves Everyone. It is a community service-based group for African American boys ages 7 to 15. We focus on community service, cultural awareness, and we like to encourage our boys to explore interests academically, socially, and athletically, besides the status quo. Currently, we have 20 African American boys enrolled in the program. This is our first year active. We've been putting this, work behind this for maybe the last 2 years. But this is our first year active, and it's really taken off. I'm excited for what God has in store for us, and like I said, I'm just happy that we actually got it off the ground.
Mm-hmm. And what inspired you to start the program?
I have an African American son. I also have African American brothers, and it seems like for some reason this generation is more prone to fall prone to the stereotypes that have been placed before them. Dealing drugs, only being good at athletics. So I feel like, it's important to expose our youth to let them know, in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you come from. So I believe it's important to teach our boys their history. It's important to expose them to the arts and the sciences. It's important to expose them to other things besides football and basketball. There's golf out there, there's baseball, there's lacrosse. And we have to kind of keep our boys focused so that, they don't become trapped by the gangs and the street life. And it's also important for them to realize that you have to give back to your community. If you're taken out, it's only right for you to give back.
Mm-hmm. One thing I think, and I'm proud to say 2 of my boys are part of the program, and from what I saw so far, I'm glad that they are a part of it. One thing that kind of sticks out to me with it is you being a sister starting a program for boys. If you had girls, or if you only had girls, do you think you would still want this direction? Or if you just had girls, you think you would have started a girls program?
No, I look at what our community needs. There are a lot of things for little girls to do. They have the Girl Scouts, which, there are Boy Scouts for boys as well. But a lot of girls have dance groups. They have, cheer groups. They have, a lot of different things geared towards girls. But if you notice, there are not a lot of things that our boys can do besides play basketball or football or, Boy Scouts. But there's not a lot of things where boys can come together and do something positive that doesn't involve them bouncing the ball. And I feel like there's more to our children than that. So, I just look at overall, statistically, African American boys perform poorer in school than girls. So you have to look at the issues and figure out which target population is having needs the help. I mean, and even if I, like I said, had girls, I mean, I have a goddaughter. I have a sister. So, I'm a woman myself. So I understand. But I'm looking at right now at the current state of America, our boys and our men are what need the support.
Mm-hmm. And on that topic, what do you think is the main obstacle facing black boys in America right
now? I think the biggest thing I'm gonna have to say is the lack of positive role models. A lot of our boys are growing up in single parent households, and those who do have father figures. It's not that the father figures don't want to be involved, but they're working so much just to try to keep the family afloat because they may not have been able to find jobs, even with degrees. A lot of people can't find jobs in their fields, so they're having to work 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to support their children. So it's a lot of times the children are acting out or not performing well because they don't have somebody there to say, hey, I care for you, even though the dad is at work, or they may not have a father figure at all. So I think we just have to put positive male examples in front of these boys and say, hey, look at what he's doing, you can do the same thing. You just have to don't let your situation or your your environment shape you. You're bigger than that. So I just think we have to just put positive examples in front of our boys so that they can know that at the end of the day you are somebody.
And have you got a positive response as far as trying to find black males to help out with your program?
Believe it or not, when we have males reach out, but I think the issue is, like I said, I mean, there aren't that many African American males that are available, and like I said, most people are working. The ones that aren't working are young and trying to get their career started. So that's kind of been an obstacle that we've been facing, and that's why I'm always looking for help. And then you also have those people who do want to help, but just due to legality, with criminal records, we kind of have to, hey, pump your brakes. And they may be good people, and I'm not saying that they aren't, but just legality wise, I have to look at the overall interest of the boys. So we've had issues with that. Like I said, a lot of the men that have reached out, there may have been issues or time constraints, and it's more so about consistency. I'm the type of person, I don't want you, if you don't have the time to dedicate to it and you aren't going to be consistent, I'd rather you just not, because I don't want somebody who's going to flip-flop. So I guess you can call it I'm overprotective. I don't think of them as just boys, though I look at them as my sons as well. And if I wouldn't want somebody jumping in and out of my son's life, I wouldn't want that kind of thing in our program either. So it's just about consistency. If I don't feel like you're going to be consistent, if I don't feel like you're going to be a benefit to the program, if I don't feel like you're going to help my boys grow, then no.
So what you're saying is, with your program, do you do a formal background check with anyone?
Anybody that is wanting to participate, yes, and it's just for legality reasons. We have to make sure that our children are safe. And like I said, not everybody has bad intentions, but that's just the way we have to go about it. Especially when you're dealing with the city, when you're dealing with the state, when you're trying to get things rolling, you have to be careful. And like I said, a lot of these kids, some of these kids, may have behavioral issues. So we have to we're on that fine line there about who we have around the children. And that's just because I wouldn't want my son in a program not knowing who's around him.
Yeah, because I've been in a lot of participated and helped, volunteered with a lot of programs kind of similar to what you're doing, but I've never seen I don't remember them doing a background check. So, kudos to you for that, because like you said, at the end of the day, our children have to be safe, and they have to feel safe and be in a safe environment, because truth be told, a lot of a good number of our children sometimes come from a background that it's not safe. So the last thing we want to do is to put them in a program that says we're going to empower you, and then once again they're in a situation where they don't they don't feel safe, which will diminish any confidence they have in us as the elders, leaders, parents, or whatever. So I definitely commend you for taking that extra step, because you could just bring people in. I know Right. Any other obstacles that you see? So the first one you said was getting help, you know, and the role models. Is there any other challenges that you see with our boys? We can't solve everything. But what are some other challenges that you see that you need to address or want to address with your program called RISE?
Lack of parental support. We can't do it on our own. What we're teaching them has to be reinforced at home. And we're a firm believer in, you know, if the children aren't doing what they need to do at home and at school, then we're not going to reward them when they're with us. Of course, they're still expected to do their community service, but when it's time for the fun outings, you'll go, but you won't participate. And it's for the simple fact you're going to go because you're going to support your brothers. Look at this as a brotherhood. But I mean, I don't know. I guess like a lot of programs I've seen where, you know, parents just will not participate. You know, they just want to drop their kids off, and it is what it is. Which we don't require parents to attend every activity, but it is nice to see your face every now and then. Because when your children see that you're invested in something, they're more likely to be receptive of the things that we're trying to teach them. But if they see you just dropping them off, when we do fundraisers, you don't want to participate, you know, it makes it hard on us, because at the end of the day, the kids are like, well, you know, so-and-so's mom came, or so-and-so's mom is here, but my mom's not, or my dad's not. So it makes it, you know, really hard on us to try to have to step in and, you know, pick up the slack. Because, I mean, we're only one, you know, I'm only one person, my staff, you know, we're kind of spread out between the boys. I think another thing that we struggle with is, I don't ever like to turn anybody away. But financially, the cost for this program comes out of my pocket, 100%. And, you know, and I'm one of those people where if I talk to parents before I enroll their child, like, you know, because at the end of the day, I need your child to be a good fit for the program, and I also need you as a parent to be a good fit. So we have parents who may not be financially able, which we don't have a cost to join the program, but we do expect parents to buy the t-shirt which they wear when they do community service. We expect them to buy the bow tie that they wear when we go to social events. That's the only cost I really ask other parents. When they go places, we feed them. You know, when we do things, we feed them. You know, we don't ask them for any other costs. But like I said, you do have parents who may have more than one child, or who may not be financially, you know, in that space where they can pay the $20 for the t-shirt, or pay the $20-something for the bow tie. So, you know, at times, you know, it's tough for me because I have to pay out of pocket for some of these children. And so, you know, of course, when we do fundraisers, it's really disheartening to have those parents who may not have had those funds available, you know, and me or my staff footed the bill, and then you don't participate. You know, like, I feel like, you know, not everybody is asking you to sell 100 boxes or whatever we're selling, but it's the initiative. The fact that, you know, I took out of my family, you know, pull from my resources. My staff is pulling from their resources. It's kind of like I said, disheartening. And I think I've noticed that more, not even just in this program, but in the African American community as well. We want, you know, people to help, but when it's time to reciprocate, and we're not even talking about just monetarily. A fundraiser doesn't cost you anything. It just costs you nothing monetarily, just your time. It's kind of hard because it kind of makes people like myself, which I'm not, you know, like that, but I've heard people say, well, I don't give to my people, or I won't do this, that, and the third because our people aren't appreciative. And I you know, that's a problem. Especially, you know, when you're trying to start programs or run nonprofits, people don't realize the amount of time and the amount of money that goes into it out of that individual person's pocket. Something as simple as taking the boys on a college tour. That costs a lot of time and usually a lot of money.
Just the bus alone, right?
And, you know, then you have those times where parents won't show and won't even call. And my logic is that even if the boy is not in our program, there is another child that I could have found that took your child's place for this opportunity. And that's, you know, that's just something that, you know, I'm working on. It's more so about just being considerate of people's time and resources that they're using. Now, like I said, I've noticed that not even just with this program, but just in general, you know, people tend not to care if it's not something directly affecting them. And so, you know, I guess that's just something that comes along with the territory. But I will say, for people who run programs like this, you know, the only thing that kind of keeps you going when you have situations like that is just thinking about the bigger picture and how many other people that you are affecting, and people that are receptive and that are appreciative of the opportunity.
And does your program, does it operate year round? Is it seasonal, or do you have it?
Year round. It's 365 days. The only time we really take breaks are during the Christmas holiday, which, I mean, we take a break, but we adopt a family during Thanksgiving and during Christmas and a coat drive. So, I mean, it goes year round. Like I said, when the boys are out of school for spring break, we try to give the parents a break. When they're out of school for the holidays, we try to give parents a break. But we meet twice a month during the school year, just because, I mean, during the school year, a lot of things are going on. During the summer, we try to fill their schedule during June and July. Like almost every weekend, we have something going on. And then in August, like I said, we slow down again because school is starting back up.
Right. What's some of the upcoming programs you have? I think me and you talked about going to the museum in Greensboro. Can you tell the listening audience about that Greensboro trip?
So, well, first, next weekend we have a community service event. We partner with a local rest home to where the boys are going to go in, just give. A lot of our elderly, population don't have, especially African Americans, people to just come spend time with them. So the boys are going to go in, spend some time with them, teach them how to use technology, iPads, tablets, Facebook, because a lot of these people have family, but they don't have a way to communicate with them because they don't know how to use these platforms. So believe it or not, our young boys know how to use these platforms. We're going to teach them how to use some of those platforms. Our Greensboro trip has been pushed back to September 15th.
Okay.
We will be going on a college tour to North Carolina A&T State University. We'll also be visiting the Civil Rights Museum at the Woolworth Counter in downtown Greensboro. And then we'll take the boys to Four Seasons, let them get something to eat, just kind of have an all-day trip, give parents a break. But that'll be in September as well. Like I said, we're also we're adopting a family for Thanksgiving. We're doing a coat drive in December as well, also adopting another family in December. In January, we have our quote-unquote end-of-the-year social. It's a banquet, a formal banquet. The boys will be dressed in formal attire. That is the time where all the boys who have been in the program this year will receive their RISE pin. And the new members will be inducted. The members that are currently in the program will be promoted as almost like big brothers or quote-unquote mentors to the younger group that comes in, because you don't graduate from the program until you turn 15.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you that. Is there like a cap off? So the earliest is 7.
We'll take you if you're 6, and if you will be 7 before the year is over. So technically, it's 6. We have a little boy who's 6, but his birthday is next month. So as long as your 6-year-old is turning 7 during that year, we are willing to take them based on the maturity level. And once you turn 15, which is something that's in the works now, we're trying to turn our 15 to 18 as an individual mentoring. So once you turn 15, you'll phase out into the RISE individual mentoring program, because at that point you need that one-on-one attention because you're at a pivotal point in your life. So that is once you turn 15. But like I said, the boys that are currently in the program, they get their RISE pin. It's pretty much just to show that they've been dedicated, that they've been through the first year, and that they have, been receptive of, what we're trying to teach. And it also gives them kind of something to look forward to and something to take pride in. And like I said, our new boys, the application period will run from December 1st to December 31st. That is the only application period. If you do not apply between December 1st and December 31st, your child cannot enroll. And like I said, those boys who enroll during that time period will also get to come to the banquet, and they will be inducted into RISE as well.
What would you say to the naysayers that would say, well, I would put my boy in that program, but men need to sharpen men, and women can't possibly raise or show a young man how to be a man? So I'm a little uncomfortable that a woman has started this program. What would you say to that?
Women are the backbone of this country. I mean, you came from a woman. And then like I said, a lot of our boys and grown men were raised by women, whether it be your aunt, your mom, your grandma, were raised by women. And my philosophy is, who better to teach African American boys how to treat a woman than a woman? I mean, granted, a man can